And with that, just before we get started here at Royal Roads University, it's very important to acknowledge our traditional land. So I just want to acknowledge before we get started that the campus is located on the traditional lands of the Lekwungen peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations. And it is with gratitude that we live, work, and learn here, where the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, staff, and faculty come together. So super happy and grateful to be here with all of you. And of course, the reason we're all here is to discover the MA in Interdisciplinary Studies, very cool programs that we're going to discuss today. My name is Ariana Konjerski. I'm an education specialist in student recruitment here at Royal Roads, and I'm delighted to be here. And I'm also joined by Dr. Joe Axe, who's a program head and professor. Joe, it's nice to be with you today.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here, and welcome to everybody who's going to be taking part in the webinar today.
Fantastic. And also Willem van Doesburg, who's an Interdisciplinary Studies Program Advisor. Hello, Willem.
Well, hello, everyone. Nice that you're here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And with that, folks, we'll just get right into our agenda for today. I'm going to kick us off with a brief overview of the Royal Roads University experience, so what you can expect if you attend Royal Roads. And then Joe's going to take us through the program at a glance. We'll discuss some application process and requirements. And of course, please ask your questions right in the chat throughout. We're happy to answer kind of as we go along. And you may be asking yourself, why explore Royal Roads? What makes us different to the many, many other universities that are out there? At Royal Roads, we like to think that we see life as a qualification. So we value in looking at holistic people when you're a student in our institution. So really taking into account your work experience, volunteer experience, life experience, and all of those things that make you you outside of the classroom, as well as professors who know your name, and smaller cohorts and class sizes ensure that you really get that one-on-one time with your professors and you really get to know them. Learning based on life as well. We have a very practical model at Royal Roads where we're basing our learning based on what's going on in the real world right now. And you also make connections for life. We have a cohort model. In interdisciplinary studies, you bounce between cohorts, but you still make many, many connections for life that you can use professionally and personally kind of as you move throughout the program. And we like to think from day one, we were built differently, and we have an online and blended focus. We use online tools, and we were really one of the people who were doing it from day one over 25 years ago now. It's pretty cool. And I just want to show you a few photos of the campus, whether or not you are on campus for your program. Always nice to see. So to the top left, we have our Hatley Castle. And if that looks familiar to you, you're not alone. It's been in many, many movies like X-Men and Deadpool and other major blockbusters throughout the years. So quite a famous movie set, which is very cool. Just to the right of that, we have our Japanese garden. That's one of the many gardens we have on campus, as well as trail space and green space that you can explore. There's never-ending possibilities for all of the green space we have there. We also have a migratory bird sanctuary on campus. So to the bottom left of your screen, you'll see Esquimalt Lagoon there. It's one of my personal favorites to take a walk when I'm on campus. And then, like I mentioned before, we've been doing online learning for 25 plus years now. We're also proud to be an Ashoka U certified Changemaker campus, and a Royal Roads Changemaker education is an innovative approach to education that prepares students as they address world problems, encourage others, and act for the good of all. And as well, Mays offers social entrepreneurship and corporate social innovation courses for a truly change-making education. And with that, folks, I will stop talking for now, and I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Joe Axe, who will review the program.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely introduction. So yes, I'm Joe Axe. I've been around the university since 2000. So I have gone through many different versions and courses and programs in the university, and I love working in interdisciplinary studies. So today we are going to talk about graduate programs in interdisciplinary studies, and I will get right into it. Please feel free to ask any questions in the chat as noted, and I'll try to accommodate and pick them up as we go along. So what does interdisciplinarity mean to our students? So there's multiple different things that we can think about, but for our students in particular, it's this complex problem. So we're looking at the world today, lots of things going on in it. We're putting together programs, or you will be working to put together your own program to meet some of the complex problems that you're seeing, perhaps in the workplace, and looking at it through different theoretical lenses and taking different methodologies as you go through your studies. So if you've got some answers that you would like to explore in a unique way, this would be a great program. The program helps creative thinkers find new solutions, and there are traditional challenges, but there are non-traditional challenges that we're going through with our lives and world as things evolve. And there's lots of tools and techniques and things like that you can pick up as you go through the program that will help resolve some of those issues and help address some of them. So who are our students? Well, this is a non-inclusive list. There are many, many things that our students are coming from, many different backgrounds. You can see here, government, education, healthcare, and the list goes on and on. The "and" is for you to insert your own background in there. We have, over the years, seen people from these different areas, but there are many others that are not included, and you might be one of those. So what do our Maze students want? What do they want to get from the program? So this could be Maze, it could be the certificate program or the diploma program. But anyway, you're looking at a master's level program, but it allows you to do certain things that are different from some of the other programs at other universities and within RU. So if you have a particular area that you want to look at, but it might cross disciplines, so you might want to be looking at something from leadership, communications, business, you can actually create a program for yourself that would include courses from those programs. So that's why the interdisciplinarity piece comes in very handy. Building personal schedules. So you're all going to be looking at your own schedule. It won't be like anybody else's, chances are, and it will allow you to continue working in the workplace. So there are other things that you will have advantages of working in Maze that you wouldn't in some of our other programs, and that is the diverse networks. When we talk about this, we're thinking of the number of courses and things that you're going to be taking that are in other programs. So you'll be looking at networks from those programs. So students who are going through a cohort, for example, in business, they would not be dipping into leadership courses necessarily, or into environment courses, but in Maze you will. So you'll be looking at students, working with students from different areas of the university and generating and building your own network based on that. And for those who want to do research, you will be able to bring in your own research topics. So if you've got something that's a burning issue, a problem that you see, a challenge, something that just intrigues you, you could bring in that research topic and you could have a look at it through the Maze program. It would be your capstone at the end of the program. You'd be looking at that. And it's a great way to address some of those issues that you might have seen that you're fascinated about, or perhaps your employer is interested in something in your workplace that could easily drive a research topic. So what does the program look like? It sounds complicated in some ways, but it's fairly simple. There's a total of 36 credits. So to graduate, you need 36 credits. When you're taking the program, there are 3 courses. If you look at the center, if you're looking right in the middle of all these multicolored pieces, you're looking at 3 courses. So you've got 500, INDS 500, INDS 505, and 510. So you're looking at a writing course, one that helps you think critically. You're looking at academic writing. If you're coming in from a program, perhaps an undergraduate degree, you've had some exposure to it. You'll also get lots of opportunity to practice in 505. So that's a really good grounding program. If you're coming into flexible admission, you may not have done a lot of academic writing, but will help you navigate that perhaps newer terrain. And also look at citations and things that usually stress students out, but shouldn't. So that's sort of helping you just, get comfortable with what it's like to be in the university. You'll also look at 500, which is when you're going to be looking at different theoretical underpinnings to interdisciplinarity, and perhaps you might find something that really intrigues you and you want to do research on when you're in there looking at a theoretical position from a particular topic that you find fascinating. You could take it with you and carry it forward as you go into your final paper. In 510, you're going to be preparing yourself for doing a bit of research. So the research course is not just meant for helping you navigate a research course, I'm just saying, which is the research paper or the thesis. It also will help you understand how to look and explore topics as you're going through your courses in different programs. So it has multiple different uses. So those are your 3 foundational courses. After that, you can move on and you can choose a whole bunch of different things. So if you look at 3 different, I see these as spoons. I'm not sure what they actually are. They're a lot of the measuring cups that I use to, I don't bake. So that's, sorry, it's not something I do, but I would do if I would baked. You don't want to taste anything I've baked. Okay, enough of that. So your first option, if you're taking it purely online, is to take up to 9 electives. And those could be of your choosing. Pretty much you'll still have to work within the confines of the program, of course, but lots of opportunities to look throughout the university for things that really intrigue you, interest you, and build your own program from that. The second option, so option 2, if you wanted to come and see the beautiful castle and the campus grounds, you could choose to do a residency and come to campus for up to 2 weeks as part of a 10-week course, which is normally what our residencies are. You may take up to 3 courses simultaneously. Sometimes it's 2, and you could even, I think Willem can correct me, but you may choose 1 if you wanted to just come to campus and take one of the courses from residency if it's allowed with that program, which may not be, depending on prerequisites. And then you add your online courses to complete your program. So the third option you could do is you can choose, if you wanted to do a thesis, that's 12 credits. So again, you will always end up with 36 credits. So this would be taken off the 36. So you'd left with 24 credits to play with, and then do an interesting topic that, as we mentioned, something maybe from the workplace, something you've seen with a volunteer organization you're doing, or just something that interests you, and do a thesis on that particular topic. Or you could choose to do a research paper, which does not include primary research, which is doing interviews, focus groups, surveys, that type of thing. And the rest of your courses would be the online electives to complete your program. So there's 3 great options and lots of opportunity for mix and matching and coming up with something that suits your particular needs. And you would be working with our wonderful program. I've forgotten your title. Willem.
Yeah, that's right, program advisor. And I think this is my cue to show you a bit around what choices you can actually make. It's
It isn't actually, Willem. I did that too early because it's still more. You can talk about this if you want.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So 9 credits, 3 core courses if you want to take graduate certificate. Sometimes our students will start off because they're not sure if they want to do a graduate level, not sure if they want to do a full master's. So they'll just kind of dip the toe in the water and say, let's do a graduate certificate, 3 courses and see how I like it. So I normally our students continue on and then do their masters, a full masters after they've taken the first 3. However, that's always an option. You can stop after you've done 3 and you get your graduate certificate. Or if you want to try something a little bit bigger, but not quite a master's, you could do the graduate diploma in interdisciplinary studies, which again, you take the first 3 core courses, but you'd also add in 3 electives if you're choosing. So both great options, and they're a great way of testing to see if you want to continue on and do a master's, and if you enjoy doing master's level, and if you enjoy our programs at RU. And like I say, I have rarely seen people stop at the certificate and diploma level. I just keep enjoying doing more. So hopefully if you choose those options, you'll continue as well. One of the great things here is that you can actually take 20 graduates. You can take all of them, but pick 1 or 2. You could pick a graduate certificate, and you could then, not only would you be able to ladder it into our program, but you could also use it to fast track you into a professional credential. So there's 3 examples here. So project management, because we're affiliated with the Project Management Institution, Change Management, Association of Change Management Professionals, and Strategic Human Resources Management, affiliated with the Chartered Professionals in Human Resources. So there are 3 examples. There are things that you could do. Take one of those. Could also transfer it up into the MAISE program, and potentially look to getting the affiliation with the appropriate professional organization, which is a great opportunity to do that. All right. And so here's where I was supposed to introduce Willem. So I'm going to turn off my mic and it's over to you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Just one note on the previous slide about whether or not you should take the graduate certificate or a graduate diploma versus the master's. One important argument I want to give is that in generally a master's program has a bit better funding opportunities. So I think if you're deciding your end goal is the master's, it is probably a good idea to consider enrolling in the master's for two reasons. One is that we have more credits to work with you, so to design that individual program of study, and two, you can tap into a wider range of funding. So it's depends on what you prefer. You want to do a smaller credential first, and then like Joe said, dip your toe in the water and see what the temperature is, and then go in all the way. Or you're in it for the whole MA. It gives you a bit more opportunity for funding and also more space to schedule your program together. And that is actually where myself and my colleagues come in to work with you on the individual program, the program schedule that is unique to you. And I just wanted to show you our website here. This is different from the main website. I'll put the link in the chat later on. It's the program guide, and the program guide is basically an overview of all courses you can take from different schools at the Royal University. So it's basically a curated kind of set of a viewpoint for you into the rest of the university, what you can take as part of the MACE program, the Interdisciplinary Studies program. And the prerequisites are that you have at least completed the INDS 505 and the 500, right? So those two will, regardless, come first. And then I want to show you some options here. So let's say 90% of our students actually do take the program entirely online because they're either elsewhere or they have very busy lives and they prefer to study online. And I would say if you do one course at a time, that most of our students do, it's about 15 to 20 hours a week. It is difficult to put a number on it because there's so many factors involved, but we schedule one course per at the time. So you have one course, you have maybe a little break depending how the date's organized, and then you have the next one. And that's how you roll down your entire program. Now, have a look, for example, here. Let's say you're part of the 80-90% who wants to do everything online. Then you can visit the guide and just have an idea of what we can offer. So all these schools and areas of study are represented here. You can take, for example, one or two leadership courses there. We have a global leadership program, a mainstream or multi-sectoral leadership program. We have humanitarian studies courses, right, around conflict, around disaster, human security and peace building. And of course, a really large section of a university focuses on communication and culture, where you find social marketing, more related to the digital world, but also intercultural communication courses, right, like the enhancing communication and creativity. That's a very nice course. So this is where you will find your choices. And then depending on your goals and also your personal needs, right? So your goal can be an academic goal, can be a professional goal, but it can also be a goal that you personally want to fulfill, right? Let's say you want to take a course in event management because you are volunteering at a NGO who does events for a certain group. That's just an example, right? Oh, there we have an events management course. So depending on what your goals are, we'll meet in a call, and then you and I together will then draft out a program of study, and we take everything into account. So we want to go online, how fast you want to go, you want to have breaks, you want to come to campus, right? And you'll see the options over here, right? The foundational residency courses, those are the start of other MA programs that you could include into your MACE program. Like the one that Joe was referring to, right? The 3-course leadership residency, for example. This is a 3-course all at once, 4 weeks online, 2 weeks on campus, 4 weeks online, and you could make this part of your for your interdisciplinary studies program. But you can also do entirely online and come up with a single course. That's, for example, the Professional Communication and Culture School. They have some really nice single courses that you can actually come to campus for as well. Like this one is quite a popular course, Conflict Analysis and Management. So you probably get the idea. This is how you could, kind of braid your whole program together, depending on what you want to see. Just one note about so going back to the slide with the three completion options, right? So online altogether, online with an option to come to campus is kind of the same thing. And then the other option is a research. Now, we do have some more information here on before and during applying frequently asked questions, right? Where you, for example, find some information about funding. Also, if you want to include a thesis in your program, what the process is. And so I urge you to have a look around these frequently asked questions. And if you have any specific questions there, because it's all unique to your needs, then just send me an email. I will put that in my in the chat later on as well. I believe that is it for this guide. Ariana, I honestly forget what the next slide is. If I have to continue to speak to some of the, yeah, there you go. So are you ready for a for an online program or for an interdisciplinary studies program, right? The big benefit, I think, so just one step back. At the university, we have two kinds of programs. Ariana mentioned the cohort-based program, where you start all together in a program and you roll down the entire program. It's set. You cannot change the course. Sometimes there's a little bit of flexibility, but not really. It's kind of set out for you. That is the cohort-based program that you find in the 95% of the university. But we are in the MACE program, we're different because we decide based on your needs what you will take when. Now with that comes a lot of flexibility what you can take when, right? So it depends on your own personal life. If you have a family, if you don't, if you are deployed, for example, we have served quite a few military members who are deployed at times. So depending on everything that you're doing, we can schedule around your needs. There's flexibility there when you take the courses. Another big, quite a large benefit of that actually is that within the university, your tuition is charged per course, right? So you don't have to pay everything up front. But that means that you can also kind of place your courses in a financial you can steer your tuition payments as well, right? So you don't pay everything at the same time, so you can spread it out that way. There is a maximum completion time. It's actually 7 years. Most students don't take that long. Most students take up to around 3 years. So 2.5 to 4 is kind of the mean sits around 3. So I think that time management is what you have to look at is, am I ready for a program, right? Is my family or people around me, my partner, are they supporting me in doing this program? Because you will have to take quite some time throughout the week, right? To dedicate to your study. So that's one thing. The other part relates to cohort-based versus not cohort-based. Because you are not part of a continuous cohort, you will spend some time alone in courses with people or students you don't know. Because you are basically, as a MACE student, parachuted into other courses. Now you have to be able to work with that. So what I often suggest to interdisciplinary students is if, let's say you have a course strategy in the MBA program, it's a foundational course, so the group is still new, so that's an easy segue into it. But sometimes a course you pick up is further down in another program. So what I often suggest is, if you feel comfortable with that, connect with the instructor to prior the course and perhaps suggest your MACE students or you have certain wishes, and that way an instructor can help you segue you into the course and introduce you into the teams, right, that you will be enrolled into. I have not experienced real issues with that. If you want to present yourself as a MACE student or not, it usually works. The only thing is though that when you work within new groups, there might be sometimes new learning styles, right? So different groups have different cultures. So adapt yourself as much as you can, and you need to be able to adapt yourself as much as you can to the new culture of the new group. For example, imagine the difference between an MBA cohort and, for example, a global leadership cohort. Those are quite different in a sense, also sometimes different people. So just be aware of that. So you have to be open to these different ways of thinking and working with regards to learning styles. Yeah. So like it says on the slide, being curious and committed to learn, well, that's why you're here in this webinar, obviously, and being able to work in teams as well. We have a learning and teaching model, which is kind of philosophical foundation of the way we teach at the Royal Roads University. We're in a way quite unique with that learning and teaching model. Maybe Ariana, you can put a link in the chat, and it describes the pillars, and one of those pillars is teamwork. But you don't have to be alone in that, because part of the team, we have team coaches at the university. So they will actually have some sessions in our foundational not-for-credit courses at the starter program. And we'll introduce you to those team coaches. So, but there will be teamwork involved in learning. Yeah. I think I should probably stop for there. I have one more thing I wanted to mention about what it is like learning online at the Royal Roads University, but I think I'll leave it with that for now, Ariane.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Willem and Joe. That was fantastic. I will just move us along here to how to apply. So if you're thinking of applying for the program, just some basics here. Of course, all of the details are on our website, royalroads.ca. So at Royal Roads, we have standard admissions and flexible admissions, which I'll explain in just a minute. But for standard admissions, if you are looking at kind of both of those, we would require a 4-year or comparable undergraduate degree in a related field from a recognized post-secondary institution with a minimum of a GPA of B+, which is 3.33 or 4.33, and normally a minimum of 3 years of professional experience. However, one of the really cool parts about Royal Roads University is that we have flexible admissions. So I'm just going to go move the slide along here. There's a whole bunch of text on here, but with flexible admissions at Royal Roads, it provides an avenue for candidates who maybe have not had the undergraduate degree or the GPA requirements, and it really opens it up to higher learning for qualified candidates who really don't have the traditional fit. I say that in quotes. So that's something that you might consider at Royal Roads, although this is not something that you choose kind of when you're coming into the program. That's something that our admissions advisors are assessing on a case-by-case basis. But it's just something to keep in mind if you are looking at the standard admission requirements and thinking, oh, maybe I don't fit that, just knowing that the flexible admissions is there for you. Willem, I just want to offer if there's anything you want to offer about flexible admissions, or if I should move along the slides here just before I move on.
Yeah, so the one, I think, most important thing of the flexible admission pathway is that because it's not formalized through transcripts, right? There is a policy at the university around interpretation of your previous work. Now, that interpretation is done through a window into your professional life and personal life in a way as well. It's through the resume, right? So if you have if you take a flexible admission pathway, then do not shy away from really explaining what your experiences are in the resume, because the resume is that window for the adjudicators, so those who decide on your admittance to the MA program or not, they will look at that resume as the main source. So that means also include, for example, volunteering experiences, right? There are many people that tend to shy away from those because we don't deem them as important, but they are actually quite important because there are transferable skills in there that will just help round out your resume as a more holistic document of who you are. So do not shy away from explaining what you've done and how you've done it, and also include other non-mainstream work like volunteering, other things that you want to include there. Yeah, that's the main thing.
So thank you so much, Willem. And I'll go ahead and just flip the slides here. If you're thinking of applying, just a few steps here. So Willem just touched on it, but we have some supporting documents that are needed. But first, there is an online application fee, which is $134.01. And then we ask when you are applying for supporting documents. So things like if you have official transcripts, submitting those, of course. Willem just detailed about the resume. So really including as much work, volunteer, life experience as you can, with a lot of details on your resume, just so it gives a good amount of knowledge for the adjudicators when they are assessing the files. As well as a personal statement or a statement of intent. And what that is at Royal Roads is basically if you were going to apply for a job, kind of like a cover letter. So really explaining why you're a good fit for the program, what you hope to get out of the program, really detailing those things in a letter, which you also submit with your application, just to give the adjudicators an even more idea of why you want to come into the program. And then 2 letters of reference as well. So those can be either professional or academic in nature, one of each, or if you have no academic ones, professional is fine as well. And then for the main program in interdisciplinary studies, you must work directly with the college to design a program schedule that identifies courses to be taken as a part of the program. So that's another asterisk as well, just for the program that we're talking about today. And some key dates. So if you are looking ahead into the future, you're thinking of applying, we have some next intakes here. The next intake is January 20th, 2025, and then September 2nd, 2025. So the application deadlines for those, the first one's coming up October 1st, 2024. And then next application deadline after that is June 2nd, 2025. So if you are thinking of either of those into the future, just a good idea to get ahead of those dates, kind of start getting those documents together here. And then services that are available to you, and I do see there is a question. I will pause for that just after this slide here. Services that are available to you in terms of financial aid and awards, because of course, going back to school is a huge step, right? So we have financial resources that are available to you in terms of loans, bursaries, scholarships, and other awards. We also have student research scholarships, other funding, and emergency funding, because sometimes, of course, life happens. So if you want to check that out, it's rollroads.ca/admission/financial aid awards. And enrollment services as well, fantastic group there. If you have any questions kind of after the session, I see there is a few questions here, so we'll pause. But if you have questions after, if you're tuning into the recording, it's just learn.more@rollroads.ca. And then there's some phone numbers on the screen there for local and toll-free if you're in North America as well. And they can really help you narrow down your options, answer questions, of course, and connect you with students and alumni, which is always super helpful. So with that, I see there are some questions here, and I see there is one hand up. So I'm just going to unmute this person here, and you can ask your question. Just give me one moment. All right, I'll take the Marvelous, who has their hand up here. You go right ahead.
All right, thank you. Okay, so in relation to that, my name is Marvelous, and I'm calling from Ghana. I currently hold an MPhil in development education, and I really would love to continue studying or taking a course up in interdisciplinary research. Now, I have this question in here with my transcript. I believe it has to be evaluated. So, am I supposed to complete that before I begin the application process, or I can begin the application and then in the course of it?
Yeah, that was a great question. I could only hear, I don't know if it's my audio
Get the
on my
transcript
end.
evaluated. Application. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Willem,
So with the
did
last bit of
sorry.
I can, thank you, Marvelous. I think your question is what the process is as an international student, right? Whether you first need to assess your transcripts or you first apply. Is that the question? Is that correct?
exactly.
Yeah. Well, what the first step is to apply, and that's what Ariana just mentioned there. There's a small fee included in that. And then you will work together with the admissions advisor to go through all the steps. That's the start. Because if you would do it the other way around, we wouldn't be able to hold a file on your person, right? Because we don't have the right to do that according to privacy law. So the first step is to apply, and then they will work with you through that entire process. And I have to be honest, Marvelous, I don't know the ins and outs of everything. But there is a confirmation of transcripts outside of Canada. There's a process for that, and they know what it is. So your first step is to apply.
All right, thank you. I get it.
That's great. Thank you so much, Marvelous, for your question. We appreciate that. There is also a question from Chris in the chat. I'll just read it out here. If I've taken already a graduate certificate through RRU, would I need to submit documents, resume, letter of intent, reference letters again? Great question.
I could answer that as well, Ariana, if you like.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
It all depends on your circumstances, because our admissions owns this process, so they will tell you what they need from you. But if you would go to this page here of the MACE program, you see this is the main overview. Maybe Ariane, you could put it in the chat. Then you go to application requirements. You see all the needed documents here. So, for example, transcripts, they're likely on file. If you haven't taken anything new, they could be repurposed. I can speak on behalf of Niches. They've done that in 99% of the cases. So they will be able to do that as long as they were official. So that's no need there. But for example, the personal statement is very unique to the MACE program, right? You have those 5 questions here that our program head wants you to answer so that our adjudicators have the information they want. Then the resume, for example, I can imagine more things have happened since you want to update that. The Royal Roads will add the transcripts actually from the credential you've completed, so you don't have to do that. We have that internally. You have the schedule. But for example, when it comes to referees, they cannot just you cannot just resubmit that same letter because that letter was written for the graduate certificate. So I would say when you apply, and as an alumni, there is actually a fee waiver for that, I believe. Then connect with our admissions and ask them to give you a list of what they need to have from you. And they will then let you know what can stand and what needs to be renewed. Does that answer the question? I hope. Oh, it was a chat. Chris, I think so. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much, Willem. I'm just going to go ahead and reshare the screen here. And I just want to include, because I know we have a lot of links, I will compile all of these links in the follow-up, just so everybody has it, so we don't have to worry about it in the chat. So the folks that are live and on the recording will get all the links. I'll make sure to include those. I'm just going to reshare the screen here. And we'll keep going. I don't have too much more to say other than if you have any other questions about the services, learn.more at royalroads.ca after the presentation as well. And then with that, I'll just show my last slide, which is just thank you for joining us today, folks. We really appreciate your time and tuning into our webinar here. Thank you so much to Joe and of course to Willem and the folks on the line just for tuning in, taking the time. We appreciate it. Of course, this will all be in the follow-up. So if you want to catch the recording or you missed something or you have questions, feel free to reach out. Again, it's just learn.more at royalroads.ca, and Willem, I'll include if you want your email in the follow-up too, just so people can reach out if they have any questions. Or of course, you can always respond to that email and I can point you in the right direction as well. With that, Joe, I just want to offer if you have any last things to say before we wrap up, I'll just open the floor to Joe and Willem before we close today.
Thank you. There's some great questions. I actually, does anybody else have any other questions that they want answering before we close? Because it would be great to let you know when we can do it. But no, I don't think I have anything else to add particularly. There's all kinds of things that we can talk to you about, but oftentimes it's nice to have the conversations. So if you want to get in touch with us, that's one of the great things about RU. We're very reachable. So Willem?
Yeah, I echo that. The last part, that's the most important part, right? And just one thing about flexible admission and also about coming back to university, right? Because this is what we do on a daily basis. We work with students who haven't been in a formal education or in academia, so to say, in a very long time. So low self-confidence tend to happen. But because we work close with you, you can see that you have control over your learning path, and that's what I think we do well. So we work with you, and we have service at the university to help you if it doesn't go as planned. Because over a course of 3 years, things happen. Like Ariana said, life happens, and but there's options always. So that's just wanted to close with that. Yeah. So with regards to flexible admission, right? I think we have about 30 to 40% of flexible admission pathway takers. So if you're a flexible admission applicant, you also are not alone. There's people with a wealth of experiences who come back to university and dive deep into theory, and then that is really eye-opening. So it could be very interesting for you then. Yeah. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Willem. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate your time today. And thank you to everybody on the line and on the recording, folks. Again, I'll include all of this in the follow-up, but we appreciate your time. And we hope that we will see you in the next webinar and hopefully in the program soon. Take care, everybody.